An elven warrior trapped on modern-day Earth. Two friends with different destinies meet at a magical school. These are some of the stories we at Electric Lips Comics are working on. You can get your copies of both The Mana Chronicles and Tales of Mithril at elpmerch.com. Support independent creators, explore the merch featuring exciting ELP Comics art with a wide range of designs. Electric Lips Comics. Imagination electrified.
Welcome to the Mostly Powdered at Night. Mostly, I am Salem, joined by my co-host Graveyard.
Hello.
This is episode 128 of our weekly All Things Horror podcast. We were clearly on the naughty list this year. We were punished again with a bunch of hot garbage and the films that we have presented to us this week. So join us, Grizzly Adams, Goldberg, yes, the wrestler Goldberg,
Yeah.
and a rehashed Christmas Evil for some more holiday jeers. With three movies this week. It's Don't Open Till Christmas from 1984, Elves from 1989, which Fire TV doesn't even know exists, by the way.
No.
Like, I typed it in and it was like, you want this movie? No. The 1989 one. And it was like, it like had no idea what it was. Anyway. And Santa's Sleigh, that's Slay, from 2005.
As we established, maybe I was drunk when I wrote these lists for these episodes.
Yeah, I don't know where the hell you found these movies. We'll talk about these. Okay, now we're going to start off with Don't Open Until Christmas. Now, forgive me here. This movie was fucking all over the place. I have no idea what the fuck was going on. There was like multiple threads going at the same time. They were just like moving along. There's a core story here, but how we got there is, I don't know. I say it's a rehashed Christmas Evil because it basically is the same thing. Only they're more successful than the guy, and it's in reverse. Instead of being in a Santa suit and attacking random people, it's a random person attacking cursed people in a Santa suit.
Yes,
but for the same reasoning that Christmas Evil did.
Yeah.
Okay, so hold on. Let me. So essentially, it opens up with there's a killer that's going around and killing people in Santa suits.
Yes.
In all kinds of ways. So most of them are very boring. The blood is very bad and very boring. Like, he goes stab and you see like a drop of blood on their shirt and then they just die. I mean, it's very boring. There are a couple of fun ones though. We'll talk about those later because I don't want to go into too much detail here. There's some fun ones, but essentially, yeah. So there's a killer going around killing people dressed up in Santa suits. I'm pretty sure they only had one Santa suit because it all seems to be the same shitty, cheap Santa suit that everybody keeps getting killed in the same suit.
Whatever the CVS equivalent in 1984 England or Scotland is, that's probably where they got it from.
Right, yeah, it's like one step above, like the plastic apron Halloween costume. It's like one step above that. It's like barely a suit. It like, oh man, it's
yep.
And they're all wearing that same shit suit. Like, you think they'd have one good Santa suit. No, there's not one good Santa suit. It's like just cotton ball beard, like a super thin fabric suit, like just trash. Anyway. Okay, I'm gonna try to get through this. So, bunch of killings happen. There's cops going, oh, we don't know what's going on. Haha, we're English and we do very dry British humor that doesn't really hit ever.
Yes.
But then like this one guy gets killed, and then the daughter kind of sees it happen, So then she becomes a character in the movie because she's like trying to follow up on what's going on. Her fiance, I guess, I thought it was her brother at first.
He's a dipshit.
Yeah, but I thought it was her brother. The relationship they had in the beginning was like they were brother and sister, and then all of a sudden they were like not. I'm like, what did that happen? Or, I'm assuming it didn't, and I just wasn't paying attention. So they kind of get more into it. More killings are happening. They're trying to follow up with the police to see what's going on. They keep seeing all these murders happening. They decide to take it upon themselves to like try and investigate stuff on their own.
As you do.
Right. They really only find a bunch of naked people, right? Like they hook up with, I guess, a photographer friend of his. They go to hang out at his house because they're invited, and there's just a naked photo shoot there. And somehow they convince him to stay for the naked photo shoot, and the girlfriend leaves.
Yes.
And then there's a bizarre scene of the naked girl going outside and trying to seduce him by like fondling herself on the street in a Santa suit.
As you do.
Right. And so of course she's wearing a Santa suit, so she gets attacked after her failed seduction.
But not killed.
Yeah, no, not she doesn't get killed because I think he was too horny that she was a naked lady underneath it.
Oh, easily.
Yeah. And it's also the first time we kind of sort of see the killer's face. He's wearing one of those like see-through masks.
Yes.
And they keep saying, "Oh, I only noticed his eyes. His eyes were smiling." I don't know what the fuck that means. What does your eyes were smiling mean? Like they're in a mask and they're just like bugging out of his head. Like he just looks crazy. I don't know how they got smiling eyes.
They could have just said white dude.
Yeah, I don't know. And then like that storyline kind of stops.
Yep.
And then we get another storyline that starts out with a lady that works in a peep show.
Yeah.
She just like dances around wearing headphones in a peep show. And then like, a guy comes in a Santa suit to watch her, and the guy in the Santa suit gets murdered by the Santa suit killer guy, right? She sees it. She goes to the police. She gives him, the only thing I saw was that his eyes were smiling. Like, oh yeah, great plan. So she is now involved in this like investigation. She has a couple of near misses, and then she gets kidnapped by the person, and she gets put in like a dungeon. That story goes absolutely nowhere.
Correct.
Until later on in the film. So, essentially, a whole bunch of goofy scenes that are kind of sort of unrelated basically spell out that there's a guy earlier in the film who says he's from a newspaper, and he keeps calling trying to like get information about the killings, and he says he has information to give to the police, but he never like shows up when they talk to him. I think he just doesn't show up when one of the detectives is there. He only shows up when the other one's there. The one detective ends up getting killed, right? And then that's when we find out that the other detective is the brother of a guy in a mental hospital. And the guy in the mental hospital has escaped or got out, and he's the guy that's pretending to be the newspaper guy. And then there's a kind of a back and forth to where we don't know it's one of the two brothers. We don't know if it's the cop brother killing people or if it's the crazy brother killing people. And then we get like the flashback. It's literally the Christmas Evil flashback of a Christmas party of when they're a child, and he sees Santa boning his mom, I guess. I think it's his mom.
Sure.
I don't know. They never describe who these people are. It's just they're at a Christmas party. He witnesses somebody boning, I'm guessing his mom. And then he gets upset. And then like they show him pull out a knife, but they don't show him go back and attack Santa at all. But I'm guessing he did because that's how he ended up in the mental hospital.
Yeah, if anyone that's not following us, it's hard to follow.
Yeah, it's like I said, this movie, it's fucking all over the place. Like I said, there's like 4 storylines and they don't attach.
No.
It's like you just have to keep following those and then following the subplots of those other ones to find out what the real storyline of the movie is. It's bizarre. So anyway, so now we figure out, okay, it's the crazy younger brother because he's he finally like shows himself and tries to kill somebody without his mask on. So we know it's him. And then like at the end of the film, like he gets away, like he kills the people anyway. He gets away, goes back to the dungeon with the peep show girl. The peep show girl gets away and then pushes him off the stairs, and then he falls down the stairs and dies.
Yes. So the daughter of the guy gets killed.
Right.
Yeah. Bizarre.
It's like it's all over. I'm sorry, I probably missed a bunch there, but it was like it's all over the place, and I could not care enough to try to pause and put things together. I'm just like, whatever, we'll just keep going.
Yeah.
And I was drinking, so I just whatever. That's all. That's what you get. That's all you get.
So, what were your first thoughts seeing this? Because I'm sure you haven't seen this before.
No, I haven't seen it before. Again, I was just confused. Like the whole time. I'm like, wait, is this the same person? Because the peep show girl looks similar to the daughter, kind of. And I was like, is this like her? Like, because they switched to her story after she left the photo shoot, right?
Yeah.
But they never explained what happened to the daughter. She doesn't come back until after the whole peep show scene stuff happened.
Yeah.
It's whatever. I was trying not to care, and then I just couldn't be bothered. But anyway, I was just confused. That's basically what I got from it. I was just confused.
Yeah, this is, like I said, it felt like we were scraping the bottom of the barrel trying to find movies, and we found the bottom of the barrel of movies, unfortunately.
This one, Fire TV knew it was offering me to watch this movie before I even asked for it. Like this one was like trying to be served up on a platter for me for whatever reason. So
yeah, this movie is garbage. It's no surprise that there was never a sequel.
No. Well, they're probably still waiting to open it.
Exactly.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
Yeah, how's that end?
The don't open till Christmas comes from the crazy brother delivers a present to the big brother, who we see him deliver it like early in the film, but again it says don't open till Christmas, and he goes, okay, I won't open it till Christmas, and that's it. So like when it comes to Christmas, he opens it and it's a bomb. And he explodes and dies, and that's the thing.
Yep.
So sorry, I forgot that part.
The last scene is what we had to wait for.
Right.
They had the entire idea. What if a bomb as a Christmas present?
Yeah, maybe the bomb killed like the whole crew and they couldn't make a sequel. Maybe that's what happened.
Do you want to go first for your highlights? You want me to go first?
I'll give you mine if you want. Okay. So the flashback Christmas, or no, the Christmas where the daughter, like her dad gets murdered. It was like a Halloween party.
Yes.
Like people were not wearing Halloween costumes; they were wearing like Halloween costumes. I was like,
Goblin
"Is this an English?"
Yeah,
I was like, "Is this an English thing?" I was like, "Do they have Halloween Christmas in England?" I don't know. That's a question. That would be fun if they did. Maybe they just got their wires crossed, and somebody said Halloween party and somebody said Christmas party, and they just said, "Por qué no los dos?"
Oh, I mean, you could dress as Santa for a Halloween party. It is a costume.
Yeah, I guess. But okay. So yeah, I was like, is there a Halloween Christmas? That's fun. Okay, now here, like I said, some of these scenes, the killing scenes are very boring and dull, right? Some of them are fucking hilarious. Now, I'll just give you a couple of them, the ones that I really enjoyed. The guy roasting chestnuts on a grill on the street. Like a chestnut like explodes and then he stabs him and then pushes his face into the grill and he lights on fire, and it was pretty hilarious. And then there was another one where because he was stabbing everybody else, and then one of the killings he just had a gun. And he just walks up, sticks the gun in their mouth and goes bang, and it was it was just done. It was so like abrupt and sudden and quick that I was just laughed out loud. I'm like, what the fuck was that? And that was it. It was done. The scene was like 5 seconds long.
Yeah.
The London dungeon was cool.
Yes.
I'm sorry. There was a whole. I know I left that out too, but whatever. There's a whole chase sequence in London dungeon, and there's like all these like torture instruments and like naked people, like mannequins hanging from them. One of them was a real naked dead lady, but they would like that looked like a cool place. Not only that, but that is also one of my favorite Misfit songs. Is London Dungeon. So I'm like, that's cool. I wonder if it was based on the real place. Maybe it was. I don't know. And again, it's seeing a Christmas movie based in England is interesting, right?
Uh-huh.
I thought that was fun. Maybe they have Halloween Christmas there. I don't know. We need to do some research, I guess.
Did you go?
I don't know, but we need to go.
Oh, we'll go. And we're just like, what? I thought you had Halloween and Christmas.
Yeah. I'm gonna dress up like Wes from Road Warrior.
Yeah.
Assless chaps. Oh, I thought this was a party.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's all I got.
So I actually knew of that scene, the the dungeon scene that was somewhere before. People talked about like it's the only good thing in this entire movie.
Yeah,
as a lot of people say, because it's out there. And it's essentially it depicts people in hell. This is like a sinner's repentance of like, don't do shit or you go to hell and end up in these like Dante's Inferno.
It just looked cool though.
Yeah,
it's a place that I would love to hang out.
Well, because they had the upside down crosses, they had all that stuff and religious stuff in there. So like, this is like, also you scare kids to shitless. If you're not good, not only do you go to Santa not bring anything, but you go to hell. So I think that's great. This is a England video nasty.
Yeah, for sure.
Because we always equate video nasties with like America, right? And the English really made that term video nasty for our stuff. It's interesting for them to have one of their own during that time period. So I thought that was really interesting. And it's essentially a Christmas tale of Jack the Ripper. I felt like, to me.
He wasn't as vicious or inventive.
But getting
as Jack the
Scotland Yard involved with it, it felt very Jack the Ripper inspired.
So you're saying serial killer in London,
yes,
equals Jack the Ripper-esque.
Yes,
gotcha.
I'm stretching here.
Right? It's whatever you want it to be, buddy. I'm just clarifying.
I'll roll into my low points. Discoteca.
Oh, you don't like the discoteca?
No.
They look like they're having so much fun.
I felt like we were watching something from the 70s. Yes, I understand that decades roll over to the next one, but it felt like too late in the 80s for that to be there. The dad dressing up and dressed up saying like, "Oh, I'm just a gay old queen." I'm like, what?
Yeah. Well, that's not the only. There's a couple of other.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Like very,
That's the best one I could say.
Very politically incorrect sayings.
That's the one I felt like comfortable saying.
Yeah, that one. Okay. There's a couple other ones you're like, hey, wow.
Right.
I wonder why they don't play this movie very often anymore.
Not only do they dress up in Halloween costumes, but Santa's from Greenland. Didn't realize that.
Okay, yeah. You didn't know that?
No, did not know that Santa's from Greenland. Sorry. Okay. Not only does this killer, he has like a psychic sense to go find anyone that just happens to dress as Santa. Like he put on that shitty outfit. He's there, ready to kill you. Like, goddamn, like there's where they live should be vastly populated, but there's only like 5 people dressed as Santa in that big town. I don't believe it. It gave me like, hey, the mean one wants to watch this. You go, what if he's supernatural and knows immediately when someone's celebrating Christmas? He was just absurdly psychic.
Huh.
Okay. If you have a maid that is, and you're made for a head inspector of Scotland Yard, she gives out way too much information to people about his personal address and phone number and everything like that.
She's just being polite.
She's being polite, but you're just going like, holy shit. It's like, oh, you want his mother's maiden name too? And so she, here it is, just right here.
They don't have social security numbers in England.
I know, but you know what I mean? Like, she was just like, just ask anything and she'll do it for you. I'm just like, that is way too much information. And I'm sorry. The dude didn't seem to have the knowledge to make a bomb that would go off when opened. I don't think he had that kind of smarts.
Well, how else are they going to work the title "Don't Open Till Christmas" into the film?
I don't know. Something else? I don't know. It's just weird that you would just
put his dick in the box.
Exactly. Just to have a box delivered to a lead inspector's house that you don't know who it's from. I didn't like the ending. It just felt like a big middle finger to you, almost like trying to find out who the killer is to Nabra. So that's what I have. How about you?
Okay. I mean, I did stop after a while because I was just like, whatever. Yeah, just the blood looks fucking horrible in this movie. Like it's 1984. Okay, the formula for good fake blood has been found already. Like it's not hard to like make it. Don't use red paint anymore. But they did. They used it a lot. Again, like I said, I think they only had the one Santa suit that everybody had to keep re-wearing. Yep. Yeah, the line that we already talked about, the politically incorrect stuff, that's not great. Yeah, random naked photo shoot in the middle of Christmas time. What? Why? Like, what? I mean, I guess they just wanted to put naked people, and that was like the best plan they had. Like,
yep.
I don't get it. Like, the photographer guy literally never makes another appearance.
Correct.
Like, that whole storyline ends after that scene. I don't know what the fuck happened there.
It was just to make sure that the girlfriend was so disgusted with being invited to this naked photo shoot.
Yes.
It's like,
and
well,
then, then she leaves her fiance there.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, you go ahead and hang out with the naked ladies. I'm going somewhere else. Like, that's not how it works. That's not how those things work.
No.
Okay, the music was fucking horrible. The editing was even fucking worse. Holy shit, dude. It was like, it hurt my eyes sometimes. It was so bad. Okay, now, the weapons that the guy used were like the fakest, cheapest looking shit I've ever seen. It looks like they took like aluminum foil and wrapped it around like whatever random objects. Like they had like a throwing knife that I don't even know. It wasn't even shaped like a knife.
No. It
was shaped like a plate. It was like a plate with a handle on it. Like, how is this a knife? What, like, who told you that was knife shaped? But yeah, they're all very, very stupid and shitty looking. I don't understand. Like in London Dungeon, there's like cool looking shit hanging all over the walls, and he picks up this goofy looking plate thing.
Well, I mean, in the London Dungeon, all things are real.
Right. Yeah, I'm just saying, yeah, there's a million things that are like very clearly weapons, and then he picks up this goofy thing that's very clearly like aluminum foil wrapped around a paper plate. This is like, what are you doing?
Hey, he threw it hard enough to make it stick in the walls, okay?
Yeah.
He's good at what he's doing.
Right. And that concert, what was the point of that?
It's called adding to the runtime.
Right. It was like we had this whole like intro of like we get to see the backstage of the whole band, and then we get to see them go on stage, and they were performing for like minutes.
Yes.
It was a long scene of just a music video essentially.
Yes.
And then like a murder happens, and then they scream and then it's done. It's like, are you friends with these people? Are you trying to promote their movie? Did they like pay you to put them in the film? Like, I don't, why?
It's possible.
Yeah.
You gotta get funded somehow, right?
Right. Yeah, I stopped caring after that. So that's all I got.
All right. So what are odds this week?
Lumps of coal, I guess.
Yeah.
We're naughty. Or these are naughty. How about these are naughty? Well, then we'd want to give them more lumps of coal. But no. So lumps of coal out of 10. Don't open till Christmas. Do you want me to go first, or do you want to go first?
I'll go first.
Okay.
I'm realizing I have to make room for elves on this numbering scale for this episode.
That's what decimal points are for.
God damn this movie. It got made, so kudos to them. I knew some scenes from it. I would give this God damn it, 2 lumps of coal. I'll be very generous. I know that. What about you?
Yeah, I'm gonna go 1.25 lumps of coal, and London Dungeon is one of those entire points. Everything else is a 0.25 because it's just not good. All right, so now we move on to Grizzly Adams, starring in Elves from 1989. Graveyard, take it away.
God damn this movie. It's almost a 2-sentence synopsis. It's, what if evil Nazis created elves to procreate with humans to create the perfect Aryan race?
Right, which doesn't make sense, right? It doesn't make. I don't understand that. I was like trying to get my head around it. Like, what?
Yeah, that's the short of it. Obviously, I'll get a little more to it, but essentially, we meet a hell of a mom that really hates her daughter, and grandfather who is clearly a Nazi living with them.
Right.
And she's essentially trying to get through her day. They work at the mall, I guess, at some restaurant, and think of like shopping mall scenario, but eventually with elves. But eventually we kind of get to see a little bit of like people are looking for her. She's, let's say 16, 17, 18, I don't know, it's hard.
You're gonna leave out the witches of anti-Christmas?
No, because I actually have that. Yeah, they essentially want to become pagans and are doing a blood summoning spell, and they're gonna be like, oh, we'll just be blood sisters, and her blood spills onto the ground, creating clearly the elf that's under the ground by 2 inches pop up and start essentially hunting her throughout the rest of the movie. I'll use the word elf very loosely here. If you told me this was a gremlin or a troll or anything else they call it that's not elves in this movie themselves.
Well, we only really see like one hand and like neck and head.
Yeah.
We don't ever see like a whole body.
It's 2 foot tall, but it looks like, I'll say this right now, it looks like a reject from the movie Troll from the 80s as well. Or a bad ghoulie. So yeah, she works at the mall, and well, people are getting killed. Like the small Santa that's there gets his dick cut off. Is the best way to put it.
That's correct.
By the elf. And so like, oh look, here's the chalk line, here's the blood. We need Santa. Hey you, Grizzly Adams. Yeah, you're homeless. You don't have anything to do, right? You got kicked out of your trailer. Come do this. Oh yeah. So he now becomes the I guess hero of the movie. So that's kind of going on there. Sometimes the elf is killing people while wearing a Santa costume, sometimes not. It's, I don't know what to really say about that. We found out that the mom is, I'm gonna say it right now, a bitch, as she drowns the cat.
She's just a bitter, nasty person. I don't even know like I don't know how to describe it. Like that whole family is,
there's
like,
no reason for there. She has no motivation to be that way.
No. And
At
like
all.
the grandpa, like, okay, it's rare enough to have a person in a wheelchair that's like kind of shitty, right? And that, but that happens, it's usually kind of like a bitter resentment kind of thing. He's just fucking angry. He's just a shitty, angry old man.
Like, he's a Nazi.
Wow. Yeah. And then later you find out he's a Nazi. Like, yeah, that tracks.
Yeah.
I got it.
Yeah. So anyway, like I said, Grizzly Adams is there. He is now living in the department store, I guess, and puts like a piece of tape on to stand there. And the girl's like, "Hey, let's just go steal shit from the mall," and like start putting on lingerie and doing all this makeup. And eventually he goes, "Hey, you shouldn't be here. I'm living here." Wait, what?
Yeah.
All that's going on there. The boys they're waiting for eventually try to show up, but all this is going on there while there's the Nazi subplot where you find out the grandpa's a Nazi and they're like, well, we need to do all this stuff, right? God damn it. And he's like, I used to be a cop. Now I'm a drunk. And now I'm doing this stuff. Like they get attacked. Her friends get killed. And the mom's like, I don't believe you. Your friends didn't get killed. You're lying. Stop lying. You're not beautiful. Oh, okay. Your cat's missing. I don't know what happened to it. Oh my god, a raccoon threw it at my window. Yeah. That was the elf that dug up the cat. Sure. That happens, right? And then as now Grizzly Adams is but his way, he's like, oh man, I'm using my old cop skills. I'm gonna go talk to the guy who likes to eat the scenery professor that tells him about, the symbol that you're seeing, it's no ruin. It's the mark of Nazis. It's like, what you should do is go bother this other guy who knows more about this at his house at Christmas and barge in there at his Christmas dinner while he starts talking about demons and Nazis and hell and all that stuff right in front of his kids.
Right.
God damn.
The guy's he must have, I don't know how many times he's like, this is Christmas dinner. You can't be doing Christmas. And the guy's like, okay, you're wasting time. All these times you're yelling at me, you could have just told me what I want to know.
Yeah. Come on, man. Just give me the information. It's not that hard.
It's like, dude, you're in his house. Like, he's telling you to get the fuck out. Get the fuck out.
Yes. Yep. Yeah. So that's all going on there. I said more Nazi subplot. We get the exposition dump that essentially, as I said, the Nazis created elves and they're figuring out how to procreate with humans to create the Aryan race. Like I said at the beginning, it makes zero sense saying it
right, like
out loud.
somehow they're trying to explain that like the grandpa like mated with his own daughter,
yeah,
and somehow like encapsulated the entirety of the master race's genome into the child that resulted from that.
Yeah.
And so the elf has to impregnate this girl so that the master race can somehow get the magic powers of the elves. I have no fucking clue what that means or how that is possible, but somehow a jewel was involved.
Yes, the elf stone. And the mother dies because, well, the elf came and threw, radio into her while she's taking a bath. She's dead.
Yeah, we see her cooking, writhing around.
Yes. Yeah, so all that's happening. Eventually they get back into the woods and they're able to destroy the forest. Something happens, right? That they she's able to defeat them, right? Or like almost like an event happens, like levels of forest.
Yeah, I don't know. Wasn't really paying attention at this point. But from what it looks like here, yeah, something happens where she was fighting with the elf and she somehow defeated it by throwing the elf stone in a hole in the ground.
Right, where essentially it came from, I guess.
I guess so.
And then an explosion happened and the forest is gone and it starts snowing.
Right.
And then we get then a minute of a elf fetus with a heart beating, showing that somehow it impregnated her somewhere along the way.
Right.
And the sequel to Elves 2, Nazi Boogaloo, clearly didn't happen.
Well, maybe it's like like where the fruit flies that like throw their sperm. Like the sperm is like bigger than they are, and they just like throw it, and if it touches the female, they get pregnant. Maybe it was like one of those.
I was watching the movie, and then it happened. I go, "What the fuck just happened? Like, what are they implying?" I'm like, I know what they're implying, but how the fuck did that happen?
Yeah, it's like how does this not work?
I have no idea. zero idea how this happened, but sure. So the alien race is coming back. That's the moral of the story, I guess. Right?
Sure.
God damn. Like, okay, so I know I heard of this movie, but this clearly got mixed in there with fucking Gremlins 2, with Troll, with, Munchies, with, Ghoulies, Critters. It was just like a cheap attempt at a Christmas creature feature with these small animatronic creatures that
Right.
were popular. That was my first thought. That's all it was.
Yeah, it reads as that, and then they got poor old Grizzly Adams in the film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, what was your first thought other than that too? Like, I don't know what else to think about it.
Yeah, I noticed Grizzly Adams.
Yeah.
That was about it. I noticed that one girl was like so fucking horny, dude. Holy cats. She was hornier than like frat boys from 80s movies.
Yeah.
She was like every scene she was talking about like how she wants a giant dick.
Yep.
Every scene. And then she's like, "Oh, the boys are coming." And they're like in the mall, so they get to like pick their outfits, and they, the other two girls pick like cute outfits, and she comes back literally just wearing lingerie.
Yep.
Like, you think they'll like it? Like, wow, okay, we get it. You're down, like down bad. I get it. Like, just calm down.
Wearing a teddy. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. And then she just gets shot.
Yep.
And then the Nazi shoot her for like no reason, off camera.
Yeah.
They show her being held at gunpoint in the elevator, and then when the elevator opens, she's just dead on the ground. Like, there's no scene where she gets shot. It's just she's just dead.
Well, in fairness, the scenes of them shooting the guns were nowhere near the scenes that they were actually in. So
yeah. Well, and then Grizzly Adams and the Nazis were shooting at each other for what, like 20 minutes?
Yep.
How long was that scene going on?
Well, I mean, they had the gun section that, great Christmas presents for mom.
Right. Great presents for mom. Guns. Bullets that are stored unlocked right next to each other. Like, great plan. This is an awesome store. I guess it was 1989, so.
God damn.
But must have been in Texas.
Yeah.
Well, no, there was snow. It couldn't have been in Texas. I don't know where it was.
I don't give a shit where it was.
New Hampshire.
Yeah, sure. All right, I'll go first with my highlights. They're going to be really fast. You ready?
Yeah.
Virgins of Anti-Christmas.
With bouncing swastika titties.
Yeah.
And that you might think I'm joking. That's not a joke. It is not a joke at all. That is a thing that really happens.
Yep. All exclamation point magic. My God, PG-13 was different back then.
Yeah.
There's nudity. There was so much cussing.
Dude, in the 80s, like, no one cared.
Yeah.
like full-on sex scenes were a thing that people were like, "Oh, I don't know about that." But like just boobs? Nope, nobody cared. They were in every movie in the 80s.
But for PG-13, like I said, it was rarer, but it did happen. Like, I remember Airplane came out in 1979, and there was tits.
Right.
It was PG.
Right.
Yeah.
It was different back then.
But I'm just going, my God, like, Marvel was so excited they like got to say fuck once in the PG-13 movie. In 1989, we're just like, oh, here's nudity, tits, people dying. Fantastic. That's all I got. How about you?
Okay. So but at least it was better than Don't Open Till Christmas, which is fair. It is.
Oh yeah.
The Christmas degenerates. It's like everybody, like the adults were just like terrible people.
Yep.
Like except for Grizzly Adams. Grizzly Adams was like the good guy. All the rest of the adults are literally like just doing drugs, like snorting coke and stuff all the time. Like the fucking mom literally murders the fucking cat because she doesn't like it. I mean, it's like, wow, the grandpa just like straight up fucking slapping and punching people and shit.
Yeah.
Like, what is up with this fucking movie? It was so bizarre. Like, whatever. Christmas degenerates. Yeah, I think the Virgin of Anti-Christmas out here as well, because it was in the beginning of the movie. She's like, oh, here's our mascot for our Witches of Anti-Christmas. See, look, it's the Virgin of Anti-Christmas. And they're all like, that's cool. It's just like this like topless chick. It's like, are you into chicks? It's like, what are you doing? And then at the end, they're like, oh, look, the picture. She had swastikas on her boobs the whole time. Wow. And of course, Grizzly Adams, because who doesn't love Grizzly Adams?
That's true.
Yeah, that's it. So we'll move into low points here. Now, seriously, the quality of this film, I was like, this had to have been made for TV. Like, this looks like an after-school special. Like, it's that bad. The cinematography and the cameras are like that bad. Like, I swear I thought it was made for TV until they started dropping F-bombs everywhere.
Yeah,
I'm like, oh, okay. I guess it wasn't made for television. Like, what format was this made for? I mean, the elves themselves are just horrible. Again, like, all you see is like one head, neck, and a hand. And I think they have like some kind of animatronics, but they're like the worst. Like, it just like kind of wiggles around. Like,
so you're a little bit older than me, but do you remember like when Land Before Time came out and the really popular for movies that you had like the puppets that are made out of rubber that you put on your hand? Like even McDonald's had like some stupid Happy Meals like this. It looked like that.
It was very bad.
Yeah,
very bad. Especially if you're gonna center your whole film around it.
Right.
Now like how the fuck do you get Nazis in a Christmas movie? Like, I was just scratching my head. Like, these villains could have been anyone. Why are they Nazis specifically?
Well, because of Tenenbaum.
So, and then like, okay, like the Nazis, like reason for being in the store was to get the girl with the perfect genome or whatever, right?
That they're shooting at.
Right. Well, that's the thing. Like, everything made sense until the elevator doors opened. Okay. Before that point, they broke into the building. They took the girl hostage. Like, they were like just gonna go through like, yeah, we'll take everybody hostage. We'll figure out who we need to deal with later, whatever. And as soon as those elevator door opens, the girl in the laundry is fucking dead, and they just start shooting at everyone.
Yep.
I'm like, what happened to the plan, guys? Like, well, you're literally Nazis. You're not hiding at all. Like, you're not trying to be secretive. You're shooting in a department store. Like, what the fuck happened? And then like the ending is just so fucking confusing. Like, whatever even happened to Grizzly Adams?
Oh,
he just stopped being in the film. I was like sitting there like, are we not gonna get a closing scene with Grizzly Adams? Like, did he die? Did he die off screen like the Teddy girl?
No.
I don't know what happened. I don't know. He just didn't show up.
If you look at the synopsis, he's there.
Yeah,
he's the words was exploded. He's not there. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know what happened to him, but he disappeared. But yeah, and then I guess elf rape. I mean, I don't know how that happened. Like, she was just like fighting it. It touched her for like 3 seconds. So unless they like breathe through osmosis, I don't know how that happened. But yeah, that's all I got.
That's that Christmas version of the movie Trolls. Drawing the cat, obviously. Nazis. No way. No way. Let's see here. Masters without slaves. We'll become masters without slaves. What does that mean? I'm gonna go with the music was just horrendous. The music felt like, there you go. What if we had the zaniness of Gremlins with the soundtrack from a Full House episode?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that it's went like whatever studio funded it. That is like went in their back catalog and just chopped apart all the other theme songs.
You remember like those feel good sitcoms that like the synthesizer that like the I don't know how else to put it, like that synth pop that was there, but wasn't like the feel good moment at the end of the episode of Full House. Like, that music did not fit the tone of this movie at all.
Right.
They clearly got the professor from the local improv studio.
Yes. Yes. What are you doing in my home? He says, yes, it's the same line like 10 times.
It's Christmas. Of course, I'm at college working. No, you're not. Fuck off. I said he was just chewing the scenery, and then just going, well, all those creatures that crawled on the ground in the Bible, those were elves. I'm going, what?
Then why didn't they just call them elves?
I'm just going, oh, so the elves are so bad that the flood happened and Noah's Ark happened, but they still took the elves on Noah's Ark. Okay. So you guys are saying that elves were created by God and the Nazis want them and they survived the floods and they're procreating with inbred families to do something, to create the Aryan race. To do what? I don't know. I don't understand how something that's part elf would be an Aryan race.
Well, yeah, I don't get why they got to shoehorn Nazis in this movie. I was just like lost.
But like everyone, like the professor is talking about, the other teacher is talking about, they're just talking about like that elves are commonly in the Bible. Everyone knows that.
Yeah. Maybe Grizzly Adams, like he said, I'll only be in the movie if there's Nazis.
Maybe.
And they're like, oh, okay, let's rework the script to put Nazis in here.
I got nothing for that. And the mom, obvious body double. It looked like she had like a rat's nest on her hair when she took off her clothes, and it's just her hair was atrocious. And I'm not saying I needed to see the actress naked, but when they show her that she's supposed to be naked, there's clearly a bikini top being worn.
Huh.
I'm just going, huh? Like, but they, the faraway shots when she's getting fried, she's naked, but close ups, and you're like, oh, you'd see her breasts, and they're like, that's a bikini top. Like, do you guys not know how to cut this shit out? Do you not see that? It was like
I don't think they care.
I obviously they don't care, but I'm just like, I go, that's like the most obvious body double I've ever seen in a movie. I could go on forever, but I don't want to because I want to purge this movie from my memory.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
Okay, so Elves from 1989. I'm gonna go 1.5. 1.5 lumps of coals out of 10.
Is the 0.25 because of Grizzly Adams?
Yes.
Okay. He made it a little bit better. Yeah, there's interesting ideas that could have been better explored. Like the idea of elves in the Bible. That was a more interesting story than Nazis getting the elves from the Bible. I don't get it. I think maybe people were doing too much nose candy while writing this.
Yeah, I mean, there was a thing like there's a whole lot of stories about Nazis looking for like artifacts, like specifically even Christian artifacts like from the Bible to like try, like they were at one point I think they were trying to find the spear of Longinus.
Yep.
So
because whoever holds it would have the undefeatable army.
Right.
Yeah,
which I think they talk about. I think they mentioned in Hellboy.
They do. Yes.
But yeah, like so yeah, like they were, but it's not like I don't think they would have preserved the entire Aryan race in an elf. Like I don't get what happened.
Yeah.
I don't. Whatever.
That part just like they tried to make it fit. It did not work.
Correct.
In the slides. That all being said, if this is better than Doing Until Christmas, not. You're right. It's not a whole lot better. 2.5 lumps of coal out of 10. Grizzly Adams does notch it up.
Now we move on to the newer of the three here. Santa's Sleigh from 2005. I mean, there's some interesting things, some fun stuff that happens here, but overall, it's not great. Now, it's kind of funny that like when I looked up who was in this film, I was like, wow, how'd they get all these big names in this movie? And then you realize that they're all just like a cameo in the very beginning of the film.
Correct.
And then it's done. So like the very beginning of it is like Santa breaking into a dinner party, killing everybody. And everybody includes James Caan, Fran Drescher, Chris Kattan. Oh god, who else was there?
Rebecca Gayheart.
Rebecca Gayheart was there. I mean, it's like all these people are like, wow, these are like kind of bigger name people. 2005, I think it was kind of like they're falling in their career. Just about everybody except for James Caan, like, you know, because he I think had just done Elf, right? Or
2
was
years
about
before
to.
that.
Yeah,
2 years before that. Yeah.
right. So like he was big even in the Christmas world. I don't know why he agreed to be in this film, but yeah. So I did all these big names, and then like they literally just get murdered in that opening scene, and then that's the rest of the film. Like everybody else in the film is not as big as those names, which is kind of funny, I thought. But anyway, I'm just gonna give you the story right away because I'm not gonna bury it here. Like anyway, so Santa is apparently the Antichrist.
Yeah.
Now Santa.
Well, son of the Antichrist.
Well, no, they said Satan's
Son.
child is Santa.
Yes.
So yeah, he's the Antichrist.
Okay.
It's like there's Jesus, who's the son of God, and then there's Santa, which is the son of the devil, who's the Antichrist. That's whatever. So anyway, so he has every year he had the day of slaying where he would just randomly kill people for 24 hours.
Yeah.
And so this one angel challenged him to a game of curling.
As you do.
As you do. And so like he won the game of curling, which means like for 1,000 years, the day of slaying had to be the day of him being nice and giving presents to everybody, which is how Santa came to be, I guess. Santa is played by Goldberg, the wrestler.
Hell yeah, he is.
Goldberg. So we go into the film. There's a kid that works at a deli with a girl who's not his girlfriend yet, but it's very obvious that she wants to be,
despite all his efforts to not be.
Correct. I think she's probably the biggest name out of everybody else in the movie.
Oh yeah, because next year she's Brenda in Hills of Eyes.
Right. Yeah, she's in the Hills of Eyes. She's in a bunch of. I've seen her in a bunch of stuff. She was in fucking Lost. I mean, she was in a ton of stuff. So she's probably the biggest name of this whole thing. But this is obviously one of her early films. She's still pretty young. Anyway, so they're working on Christmas at this deli, and then they get off and go home, and he meets his grandpa, his crazy inventor grandpa, who like. Whatever. He's like not into Christmas at all, right? He doesn't.
We'll get to that, Grandpa. I promise you.
Yeah, he doesn't. He doesn't do Christmas at all. So, essentially, they pretty much discover that all these like murders are happening because like the deli guy, the deli owner, gets murdered in the deli.
Yeah.
So basically, they're like, oh, we need to like figure out what's going on. They find out very quickly that Santa is just murdering it.
Yeah.
So Santa like tracks them to their house and like breaks into their bunker in the basement, and they escape on snowmobiles that the grandpa had put away, and then the grandpa like sacrifices himself so that they can get away. And then there's long chase sequence of Santa's sleigh, who doesn't have reindeers. He has one single buffalo.
That they call a reindeer, yes.
But yeah, and the reindeer's name was Berserker.
Yeah.
Anyway, so there's long chase sequence, and then they end up at a another ice arena, right?
In the high school, yeah.
Oh yeah, well whatever. There's the chase sequence to the fucking high school. Then they end up at a fucking ice rink. Then of course the grandpa comes back, and the grandpa was the angel all along, which is extremely obvious. As soon as they show the animation of the quote unquote angel, I was like, okay, he looks exactly like the grandpa. So the grandpa comes back and then challenges him to the curling again. And then this time Santa, instead of playing by the rules, just throws him in the fire pit.
Yeah.
Um, to which they save him anyway, and then there's like a showdown, and they defeat him, and then he's supposed to be good. I don't know. Like the whole point of like him trying to be good was like he sabotaged his own game. So I don't understand how it ended the way it did.
Do set up the sequel. It's never going to happen.
I'm gonna say okay, because like the one thing that really confused me is like, okay, obviously he's honorable to the point where he will honor the terms of a deal. Like he was fucking Santa for 1,000 years because he lost a bet, and he hated every minute of it.
Yes.
So obviously he's honorable, right? So then now when he gets challenged to another fight, he throws the guy into the hole, which then would be him forfeiting, which means he would lose, which means he would then have to do it forever.
Yes.
I was so confused. I'm like, wait, what? Like, I understand you want him to be like, I don't want to play your game anymore, but he already agreed to it.
Yep.
Like if he offered him the game and he said, I got a better game, and then threw him in the hole, understood. I got it. He doesn't want to play games anymore. Totally got that part. But he already agreed to the terms.
Yes.
And then didn't follow them.
Uh-huh.
I was just so confused. Anyway, so yeah, they end up like shooting him out of the sky with a bazooka. And then, you know, end of story. But then he somehow comes back and then moves to Hawaii or something. Or no, he was going back to the North Pole. Sorry.
Yeah, so they got essentially he tricked the drunken pastor that greaseball, and he ends up being the one that's killed in the sleigh. So he gives up his sleigh and his flying buffalo to escape.
Right. Back to the North Pole.
And the kid's like, oh, I think my work has just begun. For the sequel that never happened.
Well, I'm just very confused about he made the promise.
Yep.
He didn't follow through on it.
Yep.
So what is the rest of the film? Like again, obviously he's a person of his word. He might be a murderer for sure.
Yeah.
But like I was like okay, like why would he abide by 1,000-year thing and then he just fuck up and forfeit another one? I was just so confused. Anyway. But yeah, that's essentially there's a lot more murder scenes. There's a whole like strip club fight like thing where he kills everybody at his strip club because it's the day of slaying or whatever, and they're having a countdown of like because he's only supposed to be able to kill people until midnight, and then when midnight hits he just keeps killing people anyway. So it's like
he's like, well, the time zones don't matter in North Pole.
Right. But like at some point it will no longer be Christmas anywhere.
Yeah.
Right? So like that should be clear.
Yep.
So like if at Greenwich Mean Time is what they said was the time that they were going by the North Pole, right?
Yes.
So that's whatever timeline that is, like what would be the furthest away from Greenwich Mean Time? I think is it 12 hours? Right?
It would be the time right after it.
Well, okay, because Greenwich Mean Time is the exact middle.
Yeah,
right.
I'm saying that.
So it goes 12 hours either way because that's how it gets to the other end of the Earth. Like it has to go 24 hours for every time zone to be active on the Earth.
Right.
I think is how it works. So
midnight, 12 a.m. Greenwich Mean Time till 12 a.m. Greenwich Mean Time.
Well, so it would be if you were saying like he only has power on Christmas and he says, well, the time zones don't matter because the North Pole is all time zones. Like, okay, well, one of the time zones still has to have Christmas in order for you to still have power.
Right.
Which means that if Greenwich Mean Time happens and then 12 hours later, nowhere on the Earth would be Christmas anymore. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So at that point, so even though he said it doesn't matter, it does matter.
Yep.
Because technically 12 hours. So like at some point of for 36 hours, it is Christmas somewhere.
Yeah.
So, but after 36 hours, then he would no longer have power. And I was trying to figure this out of like, when they said time was up, it was like afternoon. Right? is it was still light out in winter, which means it had to have been afternoon.
Well, they said it was 7 hours ahead is Greenwich Mean Time, which is we are 6 hours.
So they would have been on mountain time.
Yep.
But yeah, okay. So mountain time,
5 p.m. Mountain Time.
5 p.m. mountain time. Well, the sun would have been down.
Yes.
So it had to have been earlier than that.
I would agree.
Anyway, so I'm just saying 12 hours after that is early morning.
Yep.
That was when nowhere on Earth would be Christmas anymore and he would lose his power. He still very clearly had power all the way through the next morning.
Yes.
Again, the movie didn't make a lot of sense. I was trying to put logic.
You're thinking way too hard.
I know, but I'm just like, okay, like that doesn't make any sense because by that logic, that means he has power all year long.
Yeah.
Right? I was just so like confused. I didn't drink enough, I don't think. I think I did not drink enough when I watched this film. I watched it early before I had started drinking. So I think I was still sober enough to think too much.
I think you were thinking too hard about the Deus Clocknia.
I don't know. There's a whole lot of dumb shit happening here. But again, yeah, logic puzzles, this is not. It's just bullshit.
Yep.
But yeah, there's Goldberg doing a whole lot of wrestling killing moves and stuff. And
he even gored someone, which was his special move.
Oh,
if you're a wrestler and you're fighting, the rule is you have to do your moves somewhere in there.
Oh, okay.
The Rock always did the rock bottom, especially in Walking Tall.
Oh.
So, just saying.
I thought it was like the people's elbow. Is that not his special move, or is that just one of his
That's
moves?
a signature move.
Oh. That's a signature move and a special move?
Special move is the finisher.
Oh, so they're like, it's like video game characters? They have like, they all have finishing moves? Really? Are all wrestlers like that?
Yeah.
Wow. That's interesting.
So when
I watched wrestling as a kid, but I don't remember like them saying unlocked special move.
Yeah, so if you played it, it's when you got your cheer applause up and you had to do like hit L and R1 or just like an analog stick. That's how you do your finisher.
Oh, okay. I don't.
But when he dove through the daily counter, that was his gore. That was his special move.
I think the last wrestling game I played that was a video game was Pro Wrestling for the NES.
Hell yeah.
Like where it was like the guy with the star face. There was no like real wrestlers. It was all just like fake wrestlers. That was like the last wrestling game I played.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I've known about this movie since it came out.
Oh really? I've
never watched it until now, almost 20 years later. And there's reasons for that.
Yeah, I was aware that Goldberg was a wrestler. That's literally all that I know. And I know that because like I used to have a friend of mine that was obsessed with him. Like, I didn't watch wrestling, but he would talk about him enough where I knew who he was. Like he was literally obsessed with him to the point where like he went to events with a sign of Goldberg and a picture that he drew of Goldberg that he would hold up in the crowd in the events. Like he was that obsessed with Goldberg.
Wow.
Yeah.
This movie was too, though, so.
Well, yeah, but yeah. I mean, he was just filling a stupid role. He didn't really.
Correct.
I mean, he did what he was supposed to do.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I'll say this movie was better than the other two. I mean, at least it was like, fun. At least it had like a fun element to it. The other two were just like, I don't know. They just took themselves too seriously when they tried to be fun. They were just disappointing and sad.
Yep. For sure. All right. Do you want to do your highlights first?
Sure.
All right.
Yeah, the B-list menagerie in the beginning was like super fun. I was like, poor James Caan. I don't know how they got you for this. Everybody else was kind of like on the downward spiral of their career by that point, except for James Caan. Like, I don't know how they got him to agree to it with his weird, creepy pencil mustache. I don't know.
Well, it's probably like, we want you to be in this movie because you're an elf. Great. Can you shave that mustache? No.
He's like, nope. You either got me or you don't.
Yeah.
And then I will say, like, whoever was in charge of the art department did a pretty good job. Like the intro slides where they showed him, like,
through the years.
Yeah, through the years. That was fun. Like the goofy like stop motion animation when it was like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, like showing what happened to them earlier in their, that was fun. It was like whoever did the artwork for this was like, they clearly enjoyed their job, and it was, done in a fun, interesting way. That's it. What do you get? What do you got?
Oh, the opening scene set the tone for the movie. It did not take itself seriously in the slightest. And it's
No.
good for that.
Yeah.
If it took itself seriously, it would have been much worse.
Correct.
Like, I think everyone knew what they were doing, what they were in for. It's like, well, we could do a cheesy, 25th Hallmark movie this week that's bullshit, or we can do something that's never been done before.
Yeah. No, again, this movie it does not take itself too seriously. It does,
No.
they do understand the assignment. They're making a cheesy Christmas horror movie, like Christmas action horror movie, right? It's like they knew what they were doing. They were just having fun with it. It looked like everybody was having fun. Like,
yeah.
It wasn't disappointing or sad. It wasn't particularly good, but it was
better than Jack Frost.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So that's also on my list. I like Jack Frost though. So, okay. So you and I talk about this a lot, about something that happens in the book Dresden Files, and the idea of Santa being an elf and essentially doing a wild hunt. I like that. It was in Dresden Files. I like the idea of a wild hunt Santa. You know what I mean? Because he had that in his, I'm not calling it a reindeer, buffalo-driven sleigh when he just ran the crouchy old lady off the road. It was like an old school Norse deity. And I thought it was good for that. That's about it. I'll roll with my low points. There's not a lot of low points either. Like the movie, as I said, it's stupid fun, but okay, this annoys me to no end. Like the wife watched it as well. She goes, "That makes no sense." I go, "Correct." So we see the grandson take a easily hideaway key and unlocks the door. Just one deadbolt with it, right? Then goes in there and there's 4 deadbolts on the inside, an alarm system. If you have 4 deadbolts, an alarm system, you're not having to hide a key. I don't think at all. I go, well, that's dumb. Like, that makes 0 sense. Let's call it what it is, the product placement fridge. Also, unopened cans of Spam in the fridge. You don't refrigerate Spam when it's in the can. It's shelf stable. You just did that to get Spam sponsorship. I don't like you for that.
Well, but maybe some people like cold Spam.
Sure.
Well, I mean, some people keep their bread in the fridge. You don't have to. Some people
does keep longer, but I'm saying Spam doesn't need to do that.
Yeah.
Let's call him the grandpa. I called him Christmas Doc Brown. Because he's an angel that invents things. Sure. Why not? No. This town doesn't seem very big. And I don't know many strip clubs that have valet services.
Well, I mean, I don't know. Maybe they're fancy.
Maybe they are. I doubt it. Calling the buffalo a reindeer multiple times. It's a buffalo. Even when people shit, like, it's a reindeer. No, it's not. It's a buffalo. Learn what a buffalo is or a bison is. It's a fucking buffalo. And I know,
or is it a bison?
Well, it's a bison probably.
I don't know.
But and then that discussing, my dad just killed a wolverine. Here's its entrails. Merry Christmas. Cool. Why not? The way that dad hunts, I don't think there's anything left of that wolverine.
Maybe that's what was on the plate.
Maybe. And then him getting like knocked down by the the chestnut and like bleeding from it. Was that a magical chestnut? It seemed magical. I don't think it was.
I mean, I don't know.
Did they allude to that chestnuts hurt Santa? I don't know.
I don't know. I think it's just because there's like chestnuts explode, like we learned from Don't Open Until Christmas. So maybe that's what they're trying to do. I don't know.
I don't know. I stopped caring at that point in time. So that's what my low points. How about you?
Okay, so rejecting poor Mary. Like, I mean, I don't know how much cuter you can get, right? Like, what is wrong with you?
Just grab my tits already.
Right. It's like, seriously, dude? I don't know. I was pretty hopeless as a young lad, so I guess I can't blame him too much. But yeah, the whole cop scene, like, dear God. It was like everybody had like a dumbass name. Like what was it was like, yeah, they had two like sergeants, and one was like Cock and one was like Bush.
Yep.
There was like a whole like Cock Bush joke thing. Like it kept going.
You said you like the Cock and you don't like Bush.
Yeah, and then like this desk sergeant's name was like Dick Sucker or something like that. It was like, dude, it was like the entire cop scene was just this never-ending dumb ass joke, and I'm like, just please stop.
Yep.
I was very excited when they finally died. The music in this movie was atrocious. It was terrible. It was like, you know, like generic adventure-y Christmas music. It was very, very, very bad.
I feel like they tried to be the Misfits at one point.
Yeah, it was very funny to me how like you said, the one scene, they very clearly had like real items, real stuff like Pepsi, Spam, like, you know, mug root beer or whatever, you know, like
Orange
very
Crush.
clearly, very clearly real products. And then like in the rest of the film, they had these goofy joke products for everything, which I thought it was very interesting. Like the one dude at the end was wearing like llama cigarettes, everything.
Yeah.
And it was very clearly in the branding of Camel, but they were calling it llama.
But with like the Marlboro giveaways.
Right. Yeah, I was like, you guys are mixing all kinds of shit together, but like, what the fuck was happening? Like, I was very confused, but it was very, very strange. Yeah, that's about it.
All right.
Okay. Anything else you want to say before we give our scores here?
No, I can't wait to drink these movies away.
Okay. So Santa's sleigh, how many lumps of coals out of 10?
Yeah. I don't know. Like this is a movie that you could put on with like a friend's Christmas or like an appetizer if you came over just to put something stupid on, right?
Right.
That being said, I don't think you should be necessarily sober while watching it.
No, I mean, it's a dumb movie. It's again, as I demonstrated, you can't think about it too much because you'll like get confused.
Yeah.
But it's a stupid, fun, you know, Christmas adventure, right? It's the right level of dumb to have in the background for sure.
Yeah. That being said, like I said, it's not a rewatchable thing, so I will give this 5.5 lumps of coal out of 10. How about you?
Yeah, I'm right about there. I would give it just a solid 5 lumps of coals out of 10. Again, it's not terrible. It understood what it was. They're just too many dumb things dinging it down, like too many logic puzzles that I locked myself into because it didn't make sense. But I mean, I can't blame it because it wasn't really trying to make all that much sense.
Well,
so.
It's almost like they did the opening scene from the fridge and they got all the product placement. Then everyone else saw it. They go, you know what? No,
Right.
We're not giving you guys any more money.
Right. All right. Anything else?
Nope. Take us home.
All right. So Christmas is done, but the year has hopefully one more treat for us. We're going way back to the silent era to visit our old friend Count Orlok.
Yes.
We joined Willem Dafoe in more than one film. as we explored the original, the new Eggers remake, and the film about the making of the original, also starring Willem Dafoe.
Yes.
But at least these vampires won't be sparkly. So remember, we watch bad movies so you don't have to.
And this is Big Graveyard saying, have you checked on the children?
This is Salem saying, long live the new flesh.
Good night.
Good night.